Guest, civil life litigator and constitutional attorney Andrew Lieb joins the show once again. Gentlemen, thank you again for being with me. Andrew, thanks for joining me tonight. And I'll start with you, Andrew. This is really a case of first impression. I was surprised to find that would be the case. Certainly there have been presidents that have committed crimes. It feels a little bit like a sea change to me. I want to get your thoughts.
Oh, wow, Michael. It's momentous. It's one of those things of, do you remember where JFK was assassinated, or Nixon? It was one of those things I remember precisely, and I'm going to always remember where I was when I got my phone blowing up. This is the first time a president has ever been indicted, ever, a past president. It's so important, Michael, and we all should be paying attention, and we shouldn't be rushing to judgment because these 34 counts have not even been unsealed yet, so we don't even know why yet.
We don't even know what he's actually going to be charged with. We know the general parameters based on what types of things they're claiming, but we don't know, again, what the actual charges are. So, Andrew, I have to ask you, I mean, I would imagine all the normal criminal justice things apply, right? He's going to be arraigned, he's got to answer in court, he's got to take mug shots, he's got to be fingerprinted. All those things I would imagine would apply.
We're hearing that for the most part, Michael, but there's one exception. We're still hearing right now that they're probably not going to handcuff him because he's not an ordinary person. He has Secret Service, and they have security issues. And there's security issues not just for himself, the Secret Service agents, but court personnel. Him being there is a security issue, and they have to make special arrangements for that, Michael.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Franz, let me get you into the conversation, because a lot of people were asking me today if it was really him that's going to be, he wants to show up. If you have a client, is it possible that you can set up some arrangement with prosecutors where they don't necessarily have to show up? Or is Trump wanting to show up as part of his strategy?
Well, so to be sure, when you have high-profile clients or clients that create a security risk for the court, generally, most jurisdictions have something you can file to waive their presence, and most judges are understanding. So I have to imagine that that would be something that would be allowed in this jurisdiction. However, I think you're dead on. I think this former president would not let anybody stop him from going into the courtroom and into the courthouse. Man, oh man, can you imagine representing this guy? Like the tweets, hey, maybe you should remain silent. But, you know, at the end of the day, he has a right to be there. And if he wants to be there, come hell or high water, whether the Secret Service love it or not, he gets to have that right. He gets all the rights that every citizen who's accused of a crime gets. He's just different in the sense that he's a former president, and, you know, we just haven't seen this before.
Yeah, and that happens Tuesday. He will be there. Let me ask you this, Andrew. Constitutionally, what does this mean for his political future? Clearly, he seemed to have designs on the White House or running for the White House again. Could that be thwarted by what's going on?
Yeah, so the Constitution basically says that there's nothing that's going to stop him from running, even being indicted, even if he lost, it wouldn't stop him from running. But I see an issue of, and you were just saying in the last questions, about imagine representing him. And I'm just imagining him talking to all different people, and he's already talking to other politicians. So I think the problem with him running, and this may happen, is what he's saying outside of the court, and if the judge issues a sort of gag order and restricts him from saying stuff. So I see that really the friction, not a constitutional issue, but an issue with the judge's own rules in keeping decorum in his court.
Well, according to the Constitution as well, just so folks know, there are really only 3 qualifications you need to run for office. It says nothing about having been charged or convicted with a crime, correct?
100% correct, and we've had Supreme Court cases, not with respect to a president, but with respect to people in Congress, and it's been very clear that even if a statute, a law from the legislature says that you're disqualified, even that is an unconstitutional statute. So there's nothing that's going to prevent him from a constitutional basis, but again, I could see a gag order being a real limitation moving forward.
All right, here's the other question I got for you, Andrew. This particular case doesn't seem to be any kind of impediment to him running again. But there are other investigations. You have one for meddling in an election in Georgia. You have a federal investigation. There's also the January 6th investigation. If he's charged with crimes that involve the January 6th insurrection or meddling with the election in Georgia, could there be something in the Constitution, and I'm thinking of the 14th Amendment, a kind of obscure little passage there that could stop him from potentially running for office?
Well, as we've been talking about this entire time, Michael, we've never had a president charged before. And so one of the issues with the Constitution, or any statute for that matter, is that we need to test it. We don't know what laws say until the courts rule on it. So I could certainly see arguments saying, as you're alluding to, that there's blockages and there's reasons why, but from extrapolating from this former case, there was a former SCOTUS case, Supreme Court, with respect to people going to Congress, and they found the Constitution was the ultimate arbiter, and it was really only those three provisions that stopped you. So I hear what you're saying, but I think ultimately, especially with this Supreme Court, nothing's going to stop him from running.
Fair enough, and it's all first impression. Franz, finally, I can't imagine the Manhattan DA brings charges unless he's got a tight case.
No, I disagree, Michael. I think we're about to see death by 1,000 cuts, and it's going to be small cases around the country, and I think that's how we're going to see this play out. Not inherently a strong case, but again, we don't know a lot, but why not? If there's enough leverage, once you get the crowbar in, there's nothing to stop that death by 1,000 cuts. All
right, fair enough. Well, I definitely want to thank Andrew Lieb for taking the time out to be with us tonight. I always appreciate your insights, Andrew. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Franz, you're going to be sticking around because coming